Okay. Pile 1, I just recorded your whole reading and realized my storage is full, so I had to re-record this. That is totally okay. Let me just take a sip of water and we will re-get into this. So, okay, sorry about that, Pile 3. And or Pile 3. Okay, that's weird. Because, well, it's not that weird, but okay, well, I'll just say this now, and then I gotta go grab something, and then I'll come back, and yada, yada, yada. But, okay, Pile 1, I was gonna tell you, or I already told you, but you're gonna hear it again right now. But, you may relate to Pile 2, and you may actually also relate to Pile 3. And the first time I did your reading, I was like, this pile really feels related to Pile 2, but I just accidentally called you Pile 3, and while I was doing your reading, as I was closing it off, I was like, maybe this actually feels a little connected to Pile 3 in a sense. So if you feel connected to all three, you can read or go through and, watch the readings for all three. If not, this pile is just for you. This is the only message you need to hear. But let me pause there. I'm going to go grab an incense, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, and you know what, Pile 1? I don't know if it's relevant because I forgot to say in the first time, but I am thinking about it now. But I meant to say that the incense I'm burning is sandalwood. I don't know if that's relevant, but when I grabbed this, I was kind of thinking, I was like kind of like picking up on an energy of like, I don't know why, but it was making me think of those like sandals that people call Jesus sandals. I don't actually know what they're called. Um, but it's interesting because after I did all like each of the readings and prepared the readings today, they each ended up seeming to be about a metaphorical self journey of some sort. That the details of it the meaning of it will stick to you how it needs to. But let's just jump into this Pile 1, and we're already 2 minutes long. I don't want to keep you in that one. I don't want to keep you waiting. um, So anyways, today we're going to be asking the question, what do you need to leave behind, and answering it with what you need to focus on. And in your reading, we actually uncovered a deeper issue, and in this issue is why I felt you were possibly related to Pile 2, and, it ended up being, like, deepening into that, Pile 3 as well. So, but just watch what you feel called to, So with this Fool card, what we need to leave behind is naivety, impulsiveness, reckless decisions. You're currently being encouraged to release any behaviors that stem from acting without emotional clarity. So, no rushing into new ventures without considering long-term effects, for example. It's time to let go of being too carefree or ungrounded. And I know too carefree, is there such a thing? But there is actually, and it can affect you adversely. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. If you have too much sugar, you're going to get a cavity. So, one thing that I did already discuss in the previous recording that we missed, but I don't want you to be hard on yourself, Paolo, because I feel like all this impulsiveness, it was I do get the sense that it was out of innocence, or maybe you were just going along with life from your perspective. Um, you know, but this isn't what is going to align you to your best life, your best self, your best ability. So what we need to do to get there is focus on the sun, which is, this card talks about joy, clarity, optimism. You need to embrace lightness and positivity, and focusing on growing in a grounded way. So seek out activities that let you ground yourself. I know for me that's going out in nature, taking hikes, but just something that lets you calm your mind. Maybe it's meditation or breathing exercises, whatever it is. The point of this grounding is to seek emotional clarity and happiness. because, well, I feel like that's sort of the struggle that being, going on this journey, not being the fool, but embodying the energy of this card, being naive and like impulsive. It led to like emotional, turmoil and flockiness and maybe even sadness. So that's why we want to do this. Focus on the optimism, the joy, the clarity. It's to bring emotional clarity and happiness. Okay, so we do want to do our best to remain optimistic. And the deeper issue that came about at hand, because that was sort of, I was picking up on like a deeper issue that was present here. So, these two cards up top for the planned reading, and then this sort of just came about. But the deeper issue for you here seemed to be, it's unresolved. First of all, it seems to be an unresolved conflict. It may deal with betrayal. It may deal with feelings of defeat. But there's lingering mental or emotional conflict that you deal with. It needs to be resolved, and it stems from situations where self-interest caused tension. I apologize. I was like thinking that for a second, but I really get the sense that in this situation, okay, it was your self-interest, and you know, maybe at one point you were just sort of taking things a little bit more light than what life asks you to. But it's okay to learn. Everything, we're on a learning process. So, I mean, life is all about the learning. So don't be hard about yourself about any mistakes you've made or mistakes. Everything is really about learning and growth. So, but I feel like in this situation with self-interest, just for the sake of deeper understanding, I feel like it was you who acted in self-interest, and I feel like perhaps one person, I feel like there were two people who were adversely affected by this, and actually not only were they caught off guard, but they don't even have, interest in participating in the conflict the way that you seem to in the situation. Okay, this may be like some hard conversations, guys. Sorry. So if I get like a little, constructive criticism in the realm of like constructive criticism, sorry guys. That's just how the cards came out, and I'm going to read them for you. So hopefully you're finding this helpful, and hopefully, yes, I only intend this to be helpful. So, yes, I apologize if these messages are hard to hear, but I hope that you can hear them and then absorb them maybe even later, if not right now. But, so it seems like these two people that were involved, pile one, they not only perhaps weren't involved in this conflict, but as a result of the conflict, one person may have walked away. I get the sense that there's two people. It may just be one, but I get the sense that there's two significant people here, and one of them has walked away, and one of them hasn't walked away per se, but also isn't standing beside you. And sorry about that. Maybe that person has some stuff that they'd like to say, but they're not in a place where they can say it currently. Or maybe the situation isn't at a place where they feel like they can say what they need to. But the first person has walked away, and they seem like they're out of the picture. The second person is present, but they're not with you, and that may be just metaphorical. Like maybe they're not with you physically, yeah, but I'm getting more like maybe they're not emotionally present. Maybe they're kind of checked out mentally from the situation. And at the same time, I also feel like you, in this situation of self-interest, not only wounded them like 1-1, and then because they weren't really prepared for battle 1-0, you almost came at it I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like you even had extra weaponry than like just a 1-to-1. And like I said, they weren't really battling, so it was more like a 1-to-0, like a sucker punch sort of scenario. The situation on their end, okay, so just sorry to describe it like that, but that is the situation that I'm picking up on here. But like I said, as difficult as this may be to face, like the reality does have to be faced so that you can move forward. So that's just the deeper issue here that we're uncovering. Okay, so that made the only intention I had with that uncovering that information is just to help you see if you relate to this file more and deepen the meaning behind the cards and deepen the meaning behind the message and hopefully deepen the meaning for you. But so what we want to do though is this King of Swords energy. Okay. This card encourages you to adopt rational thinking, clear boundaries. These are tools that will help you move past these conflicts that you're facing. And these tools are what will help you embrace the clarity and set mental boundaries to avoid any further conflict. So in response to, let's just go over these again. So what you need to leave behind: naivety, impulsiveness, recklessness. What you need to focus on, okay, joy, clarity, optimism. Joy, clarity, optimism. Embrace lightness, positivity, and growth in a grounded way. So do practices that help you ground yourself. Is that walking in nature? What is that? The deeper issue here: unresolved conflict, perhaps betrayal, perhaps feelings of defeat. Betrayal is perhaps what happened. I don't think the matter is being addressed, and I feel like you feel defeated by the situation. I think the issue here was self-interest, and it's causing tension, as it would. But like I said, we're all about growth. So what we need to focus on in terms of the deeper issue here, connecting to our sun card, rational thinking, clear boundaries. Okay. Let go of reckless behavior and unresolved conflicts and focus on clarity, joy, and positive transformation in your life, pile 1. Step into this King of Swords energy to release mental fog and establish strong boundaries. What do those need to be for you? For your pile, we also have the Opalite mushroom. Not sometimes, all the time. The meaning to that can be relevant to you if you want to look that up like a little bit more, but that's all that I have for you, pile 1. So I hope that was really helpful. And like I said earlier, your pile did relate on this deeper issue matter. If you want to dive into this a bit more, we do in pile 2, and I believe we actually dive into this as a whole more in pile 3. But like I said, if you only related to this pile, this is all you needed to watch. And as with any of the piles, I really thank you for being here, being present, watching the reading, and subscribe if you enjoyed what I have to offer here, and I hope to see you in a future one. Thank you. Bye. We are back, pile 2, and okay, we're a little bit out of frame. I had to get a new candle, but what's interesting, there goes my throat again, so maybe this pile is oh my gosh, there's a flame on that thing. Okay, so before we get into it, let me just say, I had to light a new candle because my last candle used up entirely in the first pile's reading. So, well, this candle was one that had rolled under a table, and it had a bunch of cobwebs on it. And I liked the way it looked, so I just kept it. But its flame is burning much more intensely than the first pile, and Also, I just feel like the cobweb imagery, like maybe we are brushing off or burning away cobwebs in this pile. And, you know, I didn't like take notice to it very deeply until I got into it, but the crystal that you picked out, like I did notice like, oh, it's a black heart, but I didn't like anchor onto that symbol like, oh, it's a black heart. Like, um, I think you have been dealing with like heartache or like just feeling like you have a black heart. I don't know how else to put that, but you know, these cobwebs and this black heart and like let's just get into your reading. So today we're going to be answering the question, what do we need to leave behind? And we're also going to be answering the question, what do we need to focus on? In doing your reading, we, of course, deepened it. I mean, I had questions come up that I wanted to deepen, so this is the intended reading, and then this is sort of like what we ended up with as far as like a deepened message goes. And Pal 2, your message ended up talking about how to let go and move forward in the deeper message. Sorry, just like a scratch sound. That I wasn't sure what it was. But okay, so let's just jump into this. So for your what you need to leave behind message, we got 3 of Pentacles speaking about the need to release dependencies on external forces for validation, specifically in terms of partnerships that no longer align with your purpose. And I just noticed like I haven't been messing with these crystals much, or I didn't mess with the first one, but I'm kind of like feeling inclined to like warm up this heart. I still am as I say that, but it's just making me feel like I feel like your heart's black from experience, like, and you need to like, I'm like wanting to warm it up, and it warms up well actually. But um, I think this was a process. This, what you need to leave behind is about seeking approval outside of yourself, and because you've sought approval outside of yourself, you've been wounded. You face wounds from the situations that you found yourself in because of that inclination to get validation from outside of yourself. Like, I think in relation to this card, this would be you, and your cup is empty, and you're like sort of looking at these two people, and oh my gosh. Okay, give me just a moment, guys. Sorry about that. I just realized something. Y'all, sorry about that. Just having realizations mid-reading, but like, okay, so, just real fast, I just wanted to say, like, if you obviously related to or felt called to Pile 1 or Pile 3, I kind of felt like they were all sort of related on different points. So, obviously, if just one Pile calls out to you, then just go to that one. But just getting back to this, so this is what we need to leave behind. We need to leave behind like emotional dependencies, like looking to others to fill our cup when you don't realize it, but you're actually maybe even positioned better than the people that you're looking to fill up your cup. But everything's about perspective. So if you felt like you aren't in, a position, I don't know how to say that, because I don't want to say like better, like, you've always had it good, because that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say better, like maybe even the people that you seek the emotional validation from, they're in worse off positions than you even, I feel like, And maybe even these situations that are wounding you would also be wounding them. I mean, they certainly wouldn't. But the main thing here is, I mean, I am picking up on like there being like a relationship dynamic to it. I mean, I don't want to address that too much, not too much. I mean, I will as much as I need to, but I do want this reading to stay focused on you. So that's what we need to leave behind. And I mean, your candle is still going crazy. It's also pile three's candle, I guess, if it lasts that long. But this candle is going way. I mean, I'll have to look back at the footage, but I think that's going way crazier than pile ones. But okay, so what we need to focus on is resilience, your inner strength, protecting your energy, and having emotional boundaries, because those tools will help you navigate challenges that you face. They'll help you navigate the challenges that you're already facing, but I get the sense that this is like the challenge for you at this moment. And maybe all these moments have been leading up to this moment. All these emotional like fill my cup moments. Will you fill my cup moments? Yeah. So how do we let go and how do we move forward through all this? We get the King of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords. Okay. King of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, Knight of Swords. All right. With the King of Pentacles, stability is the key to your healing here. All right, so building a strong foundation, if that's emotionally, building a strong emotional foundation, looking within first, not looking without, will never be filled up if we are having others fill our cups. Like we need to have the ability to fill that cup for ourselves, and then we can pour onto others. But we need to have that ourselves. And sorry if I'm being like a little hard. I didn't expect this reading to be like so constructive. I did ask, what we need. It is sort of like a shadow work reading, but still. So sorry if this constructive like criticism is a little harsh at the moment, but I hope it's helpful. That's the only intention that I have here. And but moving on, so the Four of Pentacles talks about needing to release fear-based attachments and control. And the Knight of Swords encourages, fast action, decisive action, charging forward with purpose, and maintaining a balance between direction and pace, pretty much. So yeah, how to let go and move forward, in the King of Pentacles, you see he's like sitting abundantly on like, I would say resource. There's a lot of like green. I noticed there's like two bull's heads on top of the chair there. Like I do get this sense of like, bulls are like, and I noticed too now on like the arms, like stability is really going to be emotional stability, groundedness, and I'm trying to think of the word bulls, like hard-headed, not hard-headed, but like firm in your groundedness, like a firm groundedness. I don't know how else to say that, but letting go of like control, like you see here. And remember earlier when we said what we need to let go of is maybe looking to others to fill our cup, and what we probably haven't realized in the process is like the position that we're in, even in comparison to the people that we're asking or like looking to fill up the cup. Like maybe we don't realize we might be even positioned better than the people that we're looking to. And you see here in relation to that, like you see how tightly he's got both feet on the resource, and he's gripping the resource with both hands, and he's wearing the resource on his head. Like it's in absolute control, or he has absolute control. And like, well, maybe life is just asking you to not hold on so tightly, because holding on so tightly to what resource you have is what's making you feel like your cup is empty in the first place, not realizing like your position in relation to them. I mean, not that your position in relation to them is overarchingly important, but it is a point to recognize, I think. And then Knight of Swords. So this is the last card we have for your reading, and it just, again, is talking about maintaining balance between practicality and urgency. So, in summary, pile 2, I think your pile is talking about releasing over-reliance on others, protecting your energy, and standing resilient in your own power, recognizing your own strength, what you bring to the table, what you have to offer, building stability off of those things. And once you recognize what you have to offer and you stand in that stability because you recognize it, you'll be able to release fear-based attachments. Releasing fear-based attachments is what you need to do to move forward here, move forward decisively too. And yeah, it might help you to get a obsidian crystal if you are interested in that. But that's what we have for you, pile 2. So I hope that was really helpful. Sorry it was so constructive and like not sorry in the sense that whatever was helpful, I'm glad was helpful, but sorry in the sense that I know sometimes that can be a little harsh to hear, especially if we're not in the space to do that. But I hope you are in the space, especially if you clicked on this video. I'm hoping it's finding you well. But that's it for today. If Pile 3 called to you can stick around for that. And otherwise, I will hope to see you in a future reading. Thank you and bye. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be asking the question, what do you need to leave behind and what do you need to focus on moving forward? So for your reading, we have the Seven of Swords for what we need to leave behind, the Hermit for what we need to focus on, and in deepening your message, I received the Devil and the Six of Cups, which I initially actually interpreted to be the Four of Cups. We also have, with your reading, I apologize about that, I've been having to clear my throat with each of the piles, so maybe there's a lot for you to say. But we also have just Dalmation, Jasper, Crystal. Let me see if I can get that. I can't get it to focus, but is it Dalmation, Jasper, Crystal, Star? So let me just pull up my resources here. With your pile 3, the thing that we need to leave behind with the Seven of Swords, just as a forewarning too, this reading ended up being a little bit more harsh than I anticipated, but we are talking about shadow work, I suppose. So just if you're not ready for that, you can click off. I just wanted to give you a warning, I guess. And actually, this is the first pile that I give a warning to, so maybe you're feeling a little bit sensitive to pile 3. But so we have the Seven of Swords, which talks about self-deception, avoidance, the need to stop avoiding responsibilities, hiding from responsibilities, to the need to embrace authenticity, and to step away from things we do, behaviors we do, tactics we have that don't serve our higher self. Okay? And I feel like you've perhaps felt like you were in a bit of a dance, I feel like you felt like in these tactics you were in a bit of a dance. A dance like holding each of these tools, but they're tactics and actually they're swords, so they cut you as you use them. And I get the sense that you though, and I keep having this number of 2. Let me discuss that. In each of the piles, the number 2 kept coming up. Like there's 2 people here that the devil is kind of have chained up, and there's 2 people here. And actually, for the first time in my life, I've noticed there's a person walking away in the background. And there's 2 swords here. And, in each of the readings, there was a feature of 2 of something. And I'm thinking not only is that the duality of things, and in the first pile, I was thinking that meant 2 people, and I was picking that up. But I'm also getting like mirroring like within the self, so like light and dark within ourselves. Okay. Just a message to put out there. But back to this first card, the 7 of Swords. So I get the sense that you sort of have an idea of which tools actually ground you, but you don't utilize those necessarily. And I think that these tactics that you've used, maybe, throughout your life as in your eyes, means of survival, but it's felt a bit like a circus, this dance. And I think ultimately it's kind of pulled you away from the party, like the party of life. It's distanced you, it's isolated you, actually, these tactics. But what we need to focus on is this card here. Okay, this is where we need to go. We need to go inward. We need to seek wisdom, through ourselves, through introspection. This is a time of self-discovery, but it's one that you're like in your pile. Your pile has like quite a bit of heaviness, but a theme that keeps coming up throughout these piles is to focus on the lightness of the situation. Like, and these are like heavy messages, but it just keeps coming back to, like I said earlier, everything is a learning lesson. So don't be so hard on yourself, even if you've made mistakes that you feel like are awful. You need to learn from them and then move forward, and then forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. If you learn from them and you can say that you've changed and you've taken what you've learned and you've applied it to yourself, there's no guilt to be had. Okay, so just learn from the situation and keep learning, and everything is always a learning lesson, and don't be hard on yourself. So, in hearing that we need to go inside of ourselves and be introspective, I wanted to know, what might we be avoiding in this pile? What do we need to address? We get the devil. And what's crazy is, before this came out, I felt like this was going to come out. It, of course, flies out. So you may be dealing with unhealthy attachments, addictions, limiting beliefs. This is actually a tricky card to have, because you may not realize what it is that you may not realize the pattern of behavior, or at the very least, you're not acknowledging it. Okay, so perhaps you're just not acknowledging it, but maybe of course it's hard to look at ourselves, but with a little bit of work we can, and it's okay if it takes a long time. It's okay, but as long as you're doing the work. And it's interesting because as I say, as long as you do the work, I'm like immediately come into the imagery of this, like these people chained here, and I almost feel like you feel like doing the work is like slavery, like emotional slavery. I don't know how else to describe that, but it's not. There's reward to come from it. I feel like, um, I think this pile needs to look beyond like what is immediately in front of them in terms of reward when they're navigating life, like in these situations where you're carrying these tactics up that end up just wounding you. That's why it's not emotional slavery. It's not emotional slavery so that you can put your swords down. Okay? All right? And that's coming from a loving place that I say that. Like, it's just sometimes we're so silly, like how we protect ourselves, we actually like harm ourselves, and like it's time to put an end to that for you, Pilot 3. So just for clarity, we end up on this Six of Cups card. Okay, and this is actually a very sweet card. It suggests that you're longing for nostalgia, for innocence. Okay, maybe relationships from the past or just connections to the past. But in relation to the devil and deepening the devil card, you might be actually avoiding reflecting on a past relationship or experiences that could offer lessons or healing in your current situation. So a place you may look, because as I said, introspection is difficult. A place you can look, Pile 3, is to a past relationship or a past experience that you especially hang on to for insight about this matter. This card encourages you to connect again with joyful memories. Allow those memories to guide your current emotional landscape. Okay, think back to a time when you were happy. Let that time remind you that healing often comes from our past. Okay, it often does. Healing often comes, or healing does come from our past. Okay, what does that mean? Healing comes from our past. Okay, that's a lot to unfold. I got like a ton of stuff unraveling here with like time and stuff. Healing comes from our past. Like, it does come from our past, and we do pull from that. But in your situation, what I meant to say is that it comes from understanding our past. Okay, it often comes from understanding our past. So yes, it can be hard to do the introspective work, but let our past, bear some of the weight of that for us. What we need to do, Pile 3, in a very constructive sense, okay, is just leave behind deceit. That's deceit externally, internally. Leave behind avoidance. Focus on introspection and self-discovery. Okay, so leaving behind deceit and avoidance. Focusing on introspection and self-discovery. All right, confronting unhealthy attachments with hope and balance. All right, using the playful energy of your crystal, the Dalmation Jasper, to seek joy and transformation in your spiritual journey. Joining. That just reminded me of like Louisiana accents. But in Louisiana kind of reminds me, I don't even know if this is like geographically correct, but it reminds me of swamps. So, and I actually just had the imagery of like a swamp-esque landscape coming from my last reading. So, look at your candle. It is insane right now. Jeez. Also, I didn't inform any of the other readings, but this is any of the other piles, but this is a Saint Michael candle, if that's relevant to you. He's a personal, guide to me. I don't know if I would consider him, I guess I consider him a guide. I don't know. I call out to him a lot, and I connect with him and communicate with him often. So he's definitely a protector. But, yeah, so I have him lit up and sending him energy to you and me, of course. But, yeah. So, Pile 3, I think the note that I just want to end on is to embrace lessons from the past to foster growth and emotional healing. Okay, and that's it, Pile 3. But just so you know, in case you haven't read any or watched any of the other piles, you can go and watch each of those because, in my opinion, they each strongly correlated this time. But obviously, if this one just called to you, I just want to thank you for watching, for being present. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Feel free to comment down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.